Hey, it's the Chief Bonding with Board Games and RPGs, and we're coming to you with a session 0 for what I'm going to call my NEURALINK RPG. I've just been watching a lot of interviews with Elon Musk where he talked about what they're trying to do with it now, which is help paraplegics and folks who are blind and quadriplegics, and then where NEURALINK could go. Just in regards to communicating with machines or AI, that right now we communicate about 15 bits a second. I've read a book on consciousness that can take it maybe up to 40, but it's small amounts of bits. And a super highly intelligent computer will be moving at trillions of bits a second. I think Elon Musk said it's like us talking to a tree, the supercomputer to us. So he thinks it's a way that we could stay on par or in communication with AI. It immediately struck me as a game. I was like, I can role play this. And I started thinking how. So first I thought Cities Without Number, Kevin Crawford's game. I've got his Worlds Without Number, Stars Without Number. He's going to have Ashes Without Number, which is apocalyptic. I'll probably get all of them. I still need to do some unboxings of these. I purchased them, but I haven't read them or grokked them properly yet. But because of that, although this would probably be extremely appropriate from what I'm about to do, squeaky chair, sorry, I'm going to use Maze Rats. I need to oil this thing. Maze Rats. I've been using Maze Rats. I used it in my live sessions that you can go see. I've used it at the table for my West Marches exploration. And it's going to work here, but I was making some little notes. So this session 0, it's going to include just the 3 normal attributes and 2 6-sided dice to get over any kind of challenges or problems. These are all for danger rolls, and I wanted to use this. I think it fits well because what I want to have is the NEURALINK is going to bring its own set of abilities. I'll have speed of communication, both to AI and to potentially other NEURALINK humans. And I'm thinking AI could even be AI that's within me potentially, but it could also bridge damage. So Elon Musk was already talking about how they might be able to have a bridge in between, like a break in the spinal column, and it could restore all the movement because the signals would just jump over the break in the spinal column. So I was envisioning you might be able to have multiple little jumpers that could get around damage, making the body more resilient. Just thinking outside the box. Vision. Talked about not only giving vision to folks that don't have it, but at some point being able to augment it in spectrums that normally humans don't have. So that's a possibility. And just the ability to access data sets. That part kind of comes closest to how Neo's able to download Kung Fu. I'm not sure I'll go with that exact way, but I do think you could learn things that you could then train your body to do or move with. So that is the idea of what this game will be. Using simple Maze Rats, using the Mythic emulator to run it solo and answer yes or no questions, using my AKO dice, my metal dice that look all digital and percentile dice. We're also going to do just some random name generation. I think I will try a combination of biblical. So we're just going to slide randomly here. All right, I rolled to a name I didn't think I was going to use. Gomer. I was thinking Gomer, like Gomer Pyle. But under the biblical, it means complete. I'm thinking, okay, that works. Complete in Hebrew, and in the Old Testament, this is the name of both a grandson of Noah and the unfaithful wife of the prophet Hosea. We'll go with Gomer, the grandson of Noah. So, character's name is Gomer. All right, we got it. So Gomer will be the main character. Now, for a last name, I want to come out of the biblical, and let's just go with my own heritage, my Germanic heritage of a last name. Gomer Lang, simply because it says Lang in German is tall. So I thought, okay, I'm tall. We'll go with German Lang. All right, for strength, I don't think we're going to be all that strong. I'm going to go with just a 1. For dex, I do believe I'm going to have a 2. And for willpower, simply a 0. And I'm going to explain this. So strength, my character, Gomer Lang, is the individual that actually works on the surgical machine that inputs the threads for the Neuralink into the brain. So although he's not doing the brain surgery, he works on the machine that does. So he's got a little bit of a dexterous hand. He's also a bit of a thief. I believe he's intentionally taken at least one of these machines home to work on them when they weren't working properly. There's always an upgrading process. I think he has 2 or 3 of these in different states of repair, many of which work, in his home. But because of that, his willpower is actually fairly low. I don't think he has a very strong willpower. So we'll see if maybe Neuralink ends up helping with that. But his place is probably a little cluttered with all the little tech he likes to play with. So strength 1, dex 2, willpower 0. He is fixated on building a machine that he can use at home, which is how he is going to implant the Neuralink. Although I went to the website, I have no idea how all the surgical things need to be done. I'm sure they're very complex. I'm sure there's neurosurgeons involved and there's placement of things. We're going to tech it up. Not only is the robot going to do the insertion of the needles into the brain, all pre-programmed that Gomer is going to use, but I'm going to have that a machine is also installing the bits and the pieces. You can see some photos of those links now. So once Gomer Lang realized this, he thought, I think it's time for an upgrade. And after getting the proper amount of broken machines to his place and fixing said machines up so he had the right ones running and ready, I think he shaves his head and he commences to having the machine install a Neuralink into his brain. Now, we're going to be using Mythic to see how this goes. I think he's jumped the gun a little bit. He's a little early. Obviously, all the work, and again, I can't say this enough, this is all obviously fictional. The work going on right now, right this very second in present day, is with folks who have suffered all kinds of spinal cord or brain injuries. So quadriplegics, paraplegics, wonderful work going on. Part of the process is there's always risk to these surgeries. So the ability to restore mobility to someone who's lost it is within reason, well within a risk of adding in something to the brain. However, in the game mode we're in, and we're nowhere near that level of approval. And old Gomer Lang's jumping the gun. He's going to secretly install it. He's looking for basically superpowers. Super intelligent and super other things as well. So, how does this surgery go? Again, I think he follows proper, sterile procedures as much as you can get in a flat or an apartment. I think he's even taken some antibiotics, but I want to see 50-50. Does he at least pick up some kind of infection? 50-50, 50 or less, yes. 5. Not only is that a yes, that's an extreme yes. I don't think it's, he's got an infection. I was going to say I don't think it's in the brain, but where else could it be? Could be in the dura around the brain, but he's already picked up an infection. I think he's got some infection problems. This could be a very short game, folks. But he's taken his antibiotics. I think he's very ill. He realizes he's almost killed himself. I think he comes out of it. But he had some swelling and a lot of tenderness at the insert site of the Neuralink. And it did not go well for him at all. I think he burns a couple weeks of vacation. He continues the regimen of the antibiotics, and he's able to pull out of it, but I'm going to state that he's left in a very weakened state. But after 2 weeks, he has to get back to work. I would imagine he's wearing, at the minimum, a stocking cap. I have no idea if 2 weeks is long enough. I'm probably sure it isn't, especially in this mode. But he comes in. Once he gets into work, which is part of his plan, he's actually able to work late to catch up on some of his work, and he's able to plug in for the first time and check and see how everything's working with some of the calibrating machines that he did not have access to at home. We're going to check on this, and then that will be the end of session 0 with a couple other little notes taken. But first, calibration, just the data link. I want to know, is he able to get up to, we're going to kind of move this forward a little bit, is he able to get up to kind of 15 bits a second, which is what his brain can already do, but now Neuralink's going to be able to jump that up. Basically, he's doubling his cognitive power. I think this is probably very likely, just for game factors, obviously we're dreaming into the future. 85 or less, he gets a yes. 89, he's struggling. So that is a no. He is lower than 15 bits a second, which is what you and I are doing right now. I think he's going to come in at half of that. So he is heavily disappointed that he has access. He's able to move a cursor with his brain, and he realizes this is going to take additional tweaking. More tweaking needed is what I put down here. I've got that he's doing 7 bits a second, which would actually, I think, be pretty darn good. But we leave him in this state. He's still physically not doing well at all. He's still getting over his infection. Gomer Lang has successfully implanted his Neuralink, and as we move through episodes, he will be augmenting and training himself and hopefully expanding its capabilities as he gets over the infection. All right, we're coming out of that. So my hope here is, I'll be quite honest, I was so excited with looking at the news on what Neuralink's doing. I thought, man, this is quite literally feels like I'm listening to news from the future, but it's right here, right now. And I thought, I want to cyber play with this now. So that's what I'm going to do with this system. One thing that's going to help me, and one thing I want to do more with this channel, is I have several long shows, several that have gone over multiple episodes. I'm going to use the Mythic system. There's in the Compendium, I think Compendium 5, they have a system that allows for more of like a procedural game, almost how you would have a serial TV series. It's going to be a little more confined, a little more rigid as I move through. And I think I'm going to try to move them into sections of maybe even just 15 or 20 minutes. So it'll be procedural. It'll feel maybe more like an episode of TV, but by keeping them short and quick, I'm going to see if I can kind of discipline myself on that style where there's just enough action, just enough story, and just enough fun with Neuralink that it's engaging, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. We'll see. I'll be playing with that as we go. That's going to be one of the side missions of what we're doing. I've gone long enough. Chief, bonding with board games and RPGs. Thank you. Bye.